I'm Chris, and today we're going to go over the basics of lockpicking. Let's do this real quick. The relationship between the key and the lock is crucial. The tip allows the key to move smoothly in, while the shoulder of the key helps align the cuts of the key so that the key pins are moved up to the shear line. And the key pins are going to interact with the driver pins and move them above the shear line. The springs are going to provide a downwards force when the key is not inserted into the lock. Everything is contained inside the brass body. The key pins are inside a brass plug that fits inside the brass body. The driver pins and the springs are contained in the upper part of the brass body, normally called the Bible. The goal of lockpicking is to use the pick to manipulate the key pins and push those up to the shear line, effectively pushing the driver pins above the shear line so that we can open the lock. The springs push the driver pins down into the shear line, pushing the key pins all the way to the bottom of the plug, effectively locking the lock. With enough time and practice, anyone can learn lockpicking. The Bible is part of the brass body, and where the brass plug and the brass body meet is the shear line. The key pin is going to be pushed down by the driver pin, which is going to be pushed down by the spring, and the driver pin is going to cross the shear line. When applying tension to a lock, which is a rotational force, we're going to bind the driver pins up. You want to find the pin that's binding the most, and we're going to push the key pin up with our lockpick to push that binding driver pin up past the shear line, effectively setting the pin. If you overset your key pin by pushing it up too far, you're going to have to release the tension just a little bit to have that key pin drop back down. Security pins are designed to fool you when lockpicking. Spool pins will give you a false set, meaning the core is going to rotate a lot, making you think you're setting the pins correctly. When you're picking a spool pin, you're going to feel counter rotation in the plug, and it's going to set just like any other pin after that. Sometimes picking security pins is going to be easier because of the feedback they provide before they're set. Serrated pins are designed to bind at each of their serrations, and when you pick them, you're going to feel and hear a clicking noise as you pick each serration and set the pin. The key to picking serrated pins is using light tension, and you might also come across serrated key pins as well. Let's take a look at the different types of pins you may encounter in the lock. For your key pins, you have your standard key pin, you have your serrated key pin. Your driver pins can be standard, they can be serrated, they can be spool pins, they can be serrated spool pins, they can be mushroom pins, they can be T-pins. There's a huge variety and combinations of security pins along with custom pins that people make. Some of the basic type of picks you're going to come across is going to be the hook pick, which is used for single pin picking, or your half diamond, which you can also use for single pin picking or raking. The snake rake is a favorite of mine for raking, as well as the Bogota rake. I thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you found this video informative or even helpful in picking locks, please leave me a comment below. I'd love to hear about it. Thank you so much. Keep a lookout for other lockpicking videos.